All right, Internet. This is Adam, and today I'm going to teach you all how to play my solitaire game, Clearing. So if you've read the rules document so far, you'll probably recognize this. This is a custom room that I have set up at playingcards.io, where I do like small amounts of playtesting and that I use to stage the individual card layouts for the examples that are in the rules doc. So to start a new game, so you can see down here, my hand is empty. So I'm just going to return and shuffle the entire deck. All right, so the deck is shuffled. The way that every new game starts is you begin flipping cards from the top until you find your first face card. So that first face card is your first character. It becomes the center of your grid, which we call the founder. Well, they're really in there this time. Okay, so we've got the Jack of Diamonds here. That's our first character. Then we'll keep flipping from the top, and we'll just take the next two number cards. Those become our first two obstacles. This is a particularly unfortunate game, it looks like. These are pretty high. So we'll take these, we'll flip them back, drop them in the deck, and we'll reshuffle the deck. Then the player draws the three cards for their starting hand. 1, 2, 3. This is a terrible hand. So the game starts with the player taking their first turn. So on each turn, you get two actions that you can take. Generally, the majority of the actions that you're going to take are going to be playing your number cards onto the opponent's number cards. So all the face-up face cards on the board, those are your characters. But any face-up number cards at the bottom of a stack that are trying to surround your characters, those are obstacles. Those are what you're trying to clear from the board with your cards. So for my first two actions, I'm gonna take this 5 and I'll play it onto the 8. And then for my second action, oh god, what have I done? For my second action, I'm gonna take the 4 and I'll also play it onto that. And so the total of the resources that I've played onto the obstacle is greater than the obstacle. So I played 9 to beat the 8. So those are all discarded. So after I take my turn, which is two actions, the opponent takes their turn. And on the opponent's turn, all they do is they pull a card from the top and they play it. So so jokers are special in that jokers are major obstacles. Whenever a joker is drawn by either the player or the opponent, it replaces the lowest value obstacle on the board. So in this case, it will replace this 10 because it's the only one on the board. So that was the opponent's turn. So on my turn, I can actually this is really interesting. This is one of the weird edge cases. So you can't play your number cards onto jokers. The only thing that can clear jokers is an ace. So I can't actually play a card right now because I don't have a card that I can play onto anything. So the only thing that I can do on this turn is draw 2 because I have one card left in my hand. So I will draw 2, and then the opponent plays 1 whenever I draw 2. So that was the first action for my turn. And then for my second action, now there's an obstacle that I can start playing cards onto. So I will put this 4 onto this 8. So that was my two actions. I drew, and then I played another card. So the opponent's turn, they play one card. So this 10, let's put that right here. Then for my turn, this is looking rough. I'm about to lose this game. So yeah, I'll play the 3, I'll play the 2. So that adds up to 9 to clear the 8. So those are discarded. So since I played the last card in my hand, I draw 3 cards. So 1, 2, it's a Joker. Joker swaps out for the lowest value obstacle. So then I draw another card to replace the Joker. 2, 3. And then the opponent plays 3. So the opponent drew a face card, so that goes face down, that becomes a barrier. So 1, 2. Well, so now my only character has been surrounded. So that's a loss. The game's over. So that was that was a weird and unfortunate edge case to have hit. So the game really depends on the player drawing some early face cards so they can start building out their crew with by adding additional characters to it. So we'll shuffle up and we'll start another game. So to start out, we look for the founder. So that's the King of Spades. Cool. And then we take the next 2 number cards, and those become the first 2 obstacles. The first 2 obstacles are always placed just on opposite sides of the founder. You can place them side by side, or you can place them like this. So I'll take these, flip this back over, drop them in, shuffle the deck, draw my starting hand. That's a good. Oh, that's very good. All right, all right. This is an opener. This is a start. So for my first play of the game, I'm going to play this king right here to extend my crew. So the object of the game is to keep the opponent from completely surrounding you. So whenever you play your character cards onto the group, you want to try to place them in ways that leave as many sides open as possible. So, at the start, I had 2 open sides that I have to protect. And I have to try to clear the other obstacles to keep myself from being surrounded. So I play this one here, and now instead of 2 sides, I have 4 sides. So that's my first play of the turn. My second play of the turn, I can put the queen here, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides open. Or I can play it right here, and I'll also have 6 sides open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it right here on the opposite side, because that makes the opponent's potential moves worse moving forward. So if I play this here, the opponent's going to first want to cap the ends, because the more that I can build into a straight line, the more I can really benefit from adding additional sides that aren't touching anything else. So after they cap the ends, they'll want to cap these spaces to create bottlenecks right here, because that would give me really poor options to play with. Like, if there was a card right here and I played another character right here, I would be extending the crew, but I wouldn't be gaining any additional open sides. So by playing my character right here, I managed to give myself 4 openings over here where I can place down a character to add onto the crew, and I'll be covering one side and gaining 2 additional adjacent sides, regardless of which corner I were to play on from right here. So I played my 2 cards, so now it's the opponent's turn. So they drew a 10, so I'll use that to cap that end right here. The rules say that whenever placing opponent cards, whenever placing obstacles, first they want to keep the player from building in a straight line for the reasons that I just described, because building in a straight line is going to give the player the most benefit whenever they're adding cards to the crew. Then, when you boil that down, the opponent wants to play their cards so that they're touching as few other cards as possible. So this one played right here is touching a single card. That's great. Played right here, same thing. Played right here, it's touching 2 cards. And so I can still build out in either direction. And so that's what makes this a suboptimal play for the opponent. So play that right there. So that's the opponent's turn. For my turn, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 openings. So I can afford to take my 9 and I'll play it on this 10. And then I draw 3 since I emptied my hand. 2, 3. Not great, but not terrible. Then the opponent gets to play 3. So they'll play 1. Immediately want to cap that end. 2, that's a joker, so that replaces the 3. That's pretty good for me. And 3. In this situation, all 4 of these positions are equally valid for the opponent's play. So then you have to look at the other cards that are on the board. So right here, I've already got a 9 on this 10, which means that any other resource I play on it is going to clear it. Like if I play a 2 on it, it's gone. So right here, the 10 is easier to remove than the joker. So I want to play on the 10 side, and I want to play on the side that is most likely to gain openings, because I want to try to be as close to like this very good opening that will probably open up soon to try to frustrate the player's expansion. So I'm going to play this right here for the opponent. So they played the 7, they played the joker, they played the 5. So that's the opponent's 3 cards. So now it's my turn again. I start a new turn. Whenever you play out the last card in your hand, if that's the first action of your turn just ends immediately. As a way of sort of trying to complicate things as little as possible, I know that having the opponent play cards in the middle of the player's turn is not exactly super great right now. So it's something that I'm definitely thinking about how I can go about tweaking in a way that really makes sense. So for my turn now, so I have my 2 actions. I will take, because I've got 3 openings over here, I've got a little time to burn, basically. So I'm going to take this 8 and play it onto this 10, and then I'm going to play this 3. So I'll clear that 10 with 11. So then it's the opponent's turn. The opponent draws an ace. So like I was saying before, you want to try to create bottlenecks. So this is the right play for the opponent, because that makes this a poor place for me to expand through. It makes it a non-beneficial play for me to put another character right there. So looking at the board, There are 3 openings. So what I can do is I can either play this 4 and clear either the ace or the 10, or I can just draw 2 and have the opponent play 1. Part of the reason why I like playing into situations where I draw 3, even though it pushes the game along into places where the opponent may develop a little more than I'd prefer, is because it draws down into the deck really quickly. So I'm going to take this 4 and I'll play it over here on the 9. So I'll clear this 10 with 13. Get that off the board. I could have played it on the ace, but the ace as an obstacle can be cleared with anything. So I'd rather keep that there and then just clear it with like a 2 or something later on. So I'll draw my 3 cards. All right. These are good draws. Looking good. And the opponent plays their 3. So we'll immediately recap that end. I will take this 10 and we'll put it either one of these places is where this 10 will go, because these are both good places for me to expand through, so the opponent wants both of them closed. So I'll play the 10 there, and then this jack I'll put right here, so that becomes a barrier, and that's closed off. So now my turn begins. I have my 2 actions, so I'll play this 3 onto the ace to clear it, and then I will play this queen onto the king and expand my crew a little bit. So I've taken this 1 open side and I've added 2 more open sides to the crew. This one is still shared, so in the opponent's plays, it's the opponent's turn now, so the opponent wants to cap this so I can't build into a straight line. This place right here is, with the board the way it is right now, one of the last places where the opponent wants to play a card, because if the opponent's plays can put me in a situation where I have to put a character right here, it's just a bad play. Like, it's still just bad. It's trading 1 for 1 again, still. So since this is the next good play, that's the next spot that the opponent wants to cap. So for my turn, I don't want to play this 9 just yet, so I'm going to draw 2. And then the opponent plays 1. So that goes right there. And then I get my second action. So, So for this one, I'm gonna take this 7 and clear this 6 with it. So then the opponent takes their turn. They pull the jack. So that jack immediately caps that. It becomes a barrier. So then I get my 2 plays. So I'm going to play my 9 on this 7 to clear it. Since the 9 is the same suit as the king that I'm playing it next to, this 9 is actually worth 10, but since I'm just playing it on a 7, it doesn't really matter. It clears it either way. Then I think this is a loss. No, not yet. Okay, so right now I have 2 openings. I have 1 card left in hand, so I can draw 2, and the opponent will play 1, which would go right here, and then it would be the opponent's turn, and they would play 1 right here, and then that's game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this 9 on this 6 to clear it. And so now there are 3 openings, and I've emptied my hand. So I'll draw 3. 1, 2, 3. So now the opponent plays 3. And so I've basically already lost this game. But if the opponent draws a joker in one of these 3 cards, it will replace one of these 5s instead of taking up a new space, and it'll leave 1 opening. And then I get 2 moves to potentially open up 2 more openings. So I'm banking on this joker right now. So 1. For this play, I want to force them. Yeah, I want to keep them from building a straight line, and I want to force them to build near the barrier. So the opponent plays the 2 right here. 2. It's another 2. Remember, this is the last space where the opponent wants to play anything, so we'll put this 2 right here. And let's see if this is the other joker in the deck. It's not another joker. So that 4 goes right there. My crew is entirely surrounded, and that's another loss. So part of the feedback that I received was that that it wasn't clear when playing the last card in your hand was the right play, and that was a situation where playing the last card in my hand was the right play. Like it was the only real play that I had. I mean, I could have just drawn 2 and then hoped that one of the 2 cards that the opponent drew was a joker, but since I drew 3, I gave the opponent 3 chances, one right after the other, to pull a joker. So I just sort of maximized my chances of survival there, and because drawing 3 sets you up with a full hand at the start of a new turn, you also get 2 immediate plays to try to open up more openings. If I'd pulled that joker, then I would have ended my next turn potentially with 3 open sides, which was exactly the situation that I was in before. So I think I'm going to call this here for this sort of initial rules write-up. So I hope this has helped make sense of some of the rules and some of the more specific things like how the opponent's placement should be optimized. I know the rules on that aren't the clearest right now, so I hope y'all are enjoying the game, and I hope this helps.